Well then guys, are things finally starting to happen on the transfer front from Newcastle United? As reports this morning suggest, they have reopened talks with Burnley for goalkeeper James Trafford. What does this mean for Nick Pope? We'll have a look at that. And Marc Guehi, the deal is not dead to Newcastle yet, but have we turned our attentions to an Italian wonder kid? Let's have a look. Hi everybody and welcome back to the Toon Review. My name's Paul. This is your latest Newcastle United news, and we will start off with a big breaking story today that Newcastle United have reopened talks with Burnley over goalkeeper James Trafford. Now they did go in for him earlier on in the window and of course last year. This time around the valuation was apparently too high for Newcastle United. Burnley asking around 40 million quid for Trafford. That included a 20% sell-on to Manchester City, which they'd agreed in the original transfer when Trafford moved to Burnley. So you can understand Burnley wanted to up the price a little bit, that's fine. But Newcastle United weren't too happy with the amount. But it all went quiet. Now they're back in for him. Now, the 22-year-old has had a remarkable season for Burnley. 45 games, 29 clean sheets and only 16 goals conceded. Now, whatever league you're playing in, as a goalkeeper, that is a remarkable record. Yes, Burnley were very strong in the Championship last season. They defended very well as a unit. However, when you're a goalkeeper and you come out with those sort of stats, it's absolutely brilliant. And I think this kid will be superb for Newcastle United. I know there's a lot of doubts about him, but I think people are looking too far back to when he struggled under Vincent Kompany. He was left out the side a few times, but he has come back stronger and he's used that to get better. And if you look at his performances last season, some of the saves he made were breathtaking. He commands his box much better now. His distribution is really good. He's everything we're looking for in a goalkeeper. And to be honest, I think James Trafford could be a goalkeeper for number one for Newcastle and England for years to come. Especially being nurtured under Eddie Howe. I mean, that is phenomenal stats from last season. But remember, personal terms have already been agreed because Newcastle United have continued to track Trafford's progress. They're keen to secure his signature this time around as they attempt to strengthen their goalkeeping department. And according to Fabrizio Romano, the negotiations are back open between Newcastle and Burnley as both parties look to secure a deal. It's added that the club talks are set to continue this week as the deal can happen from July. Newcastle are expected to accelerate their pursuit ahead of pre-season with Howe's side returning next month. It then goes on to say, while Newcastle are attempting to sign Trafford, it appears that Burnley have sourced a potential replacement. This was what got the stories buzzing this morning, the fact that Burnley had gone and sourced another goalkeeper, which tells you that things may be starting to happen. Sky Sports Germany reported that the Clarets have reached an agreement with second division side Karlsruhe for goalkeeper Max Weiss. So he is set to sign a 4-year deal with Burnley. Now, whether that's as number one straight off, who knows? But it's certainly an indication that James Trafford may well be on his way. And look, I'm excited about this deal. I mean, I know it's not a sparkling winger or a fantastic striker or anything like that, but we know Nick Pope is prone to a mistake. His distribution is poor. He's 33 years of age now. So what does that mean for Nick Pope? Well, Leeds United apparently are keeping a very close eye on this deal because they haven't lost interest in Pope himself. So if James Trafford does sign, expect Leeds United to be active and maybe come in for Nick Pope. Pope did speak earlier in the transfer window, in fact only a couple of weeks ago, saying he wanted to stay and fight for his Newcastle United place. However, that was when all was quiet on the James Trafford front. It's now picked up again. Now, whether Nick Pope was talking about fighting for his place again with Dubravka and not James Trafford, who knows? It'll be very interesting to see what Pope does should we sign James Trafford, because I think he's going to be under tremendous pressure from James Trafford, because I think if we're spending that kind of money on a goalkeeper, guys, it has to be for number one, surely. It has to be a number one goalkeeper when you're paying that kind of money. But it's certainly one to keep an eye on, but one to get very excited about, because it finally looks like we're developing something in this sort of final few days and weeks of June. Of course, PSR deadline is coming up. Newcastle United will undoubtedly be busy picking off some clubs that need to sell. And, of course, into early July. It could be like a bus route. None come for hours and then suddenly 4 or 5 come along. Expect that with Newcastle United because, you wouldn't put it past them, would you? Now then, Marc Guehi. The situation with Newcastle United is not over, apparently. This is a really strange story because Marc Guehi has 2 options, and one of them is to stay at Crystal Palace, and the other one is to obviously leave. Now, Liverpool have been very interested in Guehi the last few days, but Guehi won't be guaranteed first-team football at Liverpool. And that's what fascinates me about this deal because Van Dijk's already there. They've got various other centre-backs. So Guehi will not be guaranteed. Of course, Konate is there. So Van Dijk and Konate are their main 2 centre-backs. So guaranteed first-team football. He may not get as many games as he wants. And remember, this is a World Cup year coming up. And Guehi will want to play. Now, another option he's got, obviously, is to stay at Palace. And he can stay at Palace for another year, then move on a free at the end of the season and pick up a fantastic signing on fee. Ben Jacobs, Ben Jacobs talking to TalkSport. I mean, there's a... Make of that what you want, but there you go. He did say Marc Guehi is not going to extend his Crystal Palace contract. I think everybody knows that. And the understanding is that he's got 2 options. One is he stays at Palace, gets the game time, hopefully goes to the World Cup, leaves on a free transfer. And from Guehi's point of view, he is prepared to entertain that possibility. On the other hand, Palace want to sell him, and this is their only opportunity to bring in big money. So you've got to think, big money for Marc Guehi for Palace point of view, or big money for Guehi in a year's time when he leaves for free. It says the fact that this is a World Cup year complicates Guehi's decision. He will only join a club where he's guaranteed to play regularly. If not, there is a chance he might not be part of Thomas Tuchel's England squad. That is why staying at Palace is an option for him. And of course, he's captain there. So it's all going to depend on first team football for Marc Guehi. So the deal for Newcastle United may not be over just yet. It depends how we negotiate with him. However, on the flip side of that, have we turned our attention to Italy and Atalanta's young wonder kid defender, Giorgio Scalvini? Now, Scalvini has been in the news for the last couple of days that Newcastle United may well be moving for the player. He's 21-year-old, and he's certainly on Newcastle United's radar. Now, Luke Edwards has also updated us on this as well, as, of course, a successor, really, to Fabian Schär is still going on. Now, according to Luke Edwards, Scalvini is the one to watch. However, a move to Tyneside is not imminent. And these sort of deals, you can understand, they will take a while. Of course they will. He wrote that NUFC do indeed like Scalvini, but no more to it than that at this stage. It's one to watch, perhaps. He's had injury problems, and then he talks about James Trafford. That could really advance very quickly. But Newcastle still remain keen on Pedro and Guehi, but nothing imminent. And I don't expect anything to be imminent because we expect as fans for this transfer window to really open for Newcastle United at the back end of this month, PSR deadline, and into early July. I'm not expecting anything quicker than that, and I don't think anybody is as a Newcastle United fan. However, this Scalvini player is, Atalanta's wonder kid. Now, it's an 8-time Italian national team representative. A 21-year-old has enjoyed a sharp rise in Italy, but, and this is a big but, an ACL injury meant he was only able to feature 8 times in all competitions last season. Now, the good thing for Scalvini is, like Sven Botman, he's got age on his side and can recover from that kind of injury with modern-day technology the way it is. But then, you look, Botman and Scalvini, both ACL injuries in the past, it's a risk. But he's 21-year-old, and I don't think it's such a risk as what it would have been a few years back. Now, obviously, Atalanta have had manager changes, and they've been in the mire a little bit with regards to who leads the club. But he remains one of Atalanta's top players, and the Magpies will do well to prize him away. But they've got Champions League football, of course. All of that we can give to Scalvini. We can really sell the club. We can promote it. And again, like we've said in the past, This is up to the big boys at Newcastle United to really sell this club to potential superstars like Scalvini. But let me know in the comments, would you take a risk on Scalvini even though he had an ACL last season? I mean, we go on about Sven Botman, don't we, about how good he's going to be when he comes back. Why can't Scalvini be just the same sort of player? Youth is on his side. 21-year-old, 8 times for Italy already as a full international. This kid can play. Come on, he really can. So would you go for him, or would you keep the options still open for Marc Guehi or other ones that we've been interested in the past? Let me know what you think of all the news in the comments below, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, as usual, please give it a like. And of course, please do subscribe if you are new. We are heading rapidly towards 40,000, guys. So with your help, we can get there soon. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. And of course, check the website out, thetoonreview.com, for all your Toon Review merchandise. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll speak to you soon, guys. Take care.